Hello, my pretties. This is Shadow the Lion Queen here, and welcome to another episode of Shadows and Pretties. This is episode 382. So, today we're going to look at this 20th film of the Maneater series called Sand Serpents. Now, this movie, I definitely could say, it has a really interesting concept, and it does seem really well done, and it's got pretty good actors, which I personally think, it's pretty cool, in my opinion, to have, a movie with good actors. So, this film came out in 2009, so this is an older film. So, basically the plot of this movie is about a group of special forces led by Lieutenant Richard Stanley arrives in Afghanistan in order to deal with the Taliban for their final mission before heading home to the States. However, the group is soon captured by the ambushing Taliban soldiers who tie them up and plan to use them to request for money and the release of the Taliban prisoners. Soon there is an apparent earthquake with roars and screams that the group hears before managing to release themselves. The group is startled by the remains, including the Taliban filming camera, which does not reveal much. Private Andrews detects something wrong, and Private Suzanne Eno believes that it could be a mirage. So the group heads to a clear area for the chopper to come and pick them up, where they encounter a giant worm-like creature that emerges from the ground and drags the chopper down, causing it to crash. It causes the group back to the original building where they were captured, but the worm eats Sergeant Wilson in the process. Stanley realizes that the worms can detect noises, which explains why it attracted the chopper. They then fix a car and try to escape, but Ilsla, a young Afghani girl, runs to the front of the car, causing it to lose control and overturn, pinning Eno underneath and breaking her hip and legs. As the worms approach, she orders everyone else to leave, and as they do so, and the worms catch up and eat her. So, in a ravaged refugee camp, a group of acknowledges and they take the actions of the Taliban from the information provided by a survivor, Amal, Ilsla's father, and he and his daughter decide to join the group of soldiers. But they fail to convince the other women there who wished to stay and wait until the Taliban gave them back their sons, including Elisa's brother. On the way, Andrews shows a hostile attitude to Amal, saying that he could be a member of the terrorists. The group then makes a run again, but once more they're trapped by the Taliban, and they have to stay inside the original building until the worms come and devour the Taliban. Unfortunately, Private Kaminsky is mortally wounded due to a grenade explosion. So, failing to carry him all the way back, the group has to abandon him. He dies as the worm eats him. In the process, Richard uses a grenade to blow up the creature. So, when the group reaches a tunnel, which, according to Amal, which can lead to the other side of the Taliban's camp, where they call for the choppers and supporting troops. However, Amal was attempting to find his son, so he leads the group around back to the Taliban's camp until he steps on a landmine. As the way is blocked, the group returns to the door where they entered, which also has no way to open it from the inside. Ilsla is then sent up to the ground, although an alternative tunnel, which she can only fit through. She opens a door on the other side as the worms being attacked by the explosion into the tunnel and come and eat Andrews. So the group now only has three people: Stanley, Captain Jennifer Hanley, and Alessa. They know what the worms can hear them, but they can't see them, so they decide to use the grenades as distractions to help them reach a tall building where they were certain that the worms couldn't reach them. So as the plan seems to fail when they were very close to the building, they plan to pretty much take their own life by using a bomb pack. When a Black Hawk arrives on time and kills one of the two worms and the other submerges, the group gets picked up by them as they were about to flee, as the last worm lunges out from the ground and tries to grab the chopper. To save the other, Stanley jumps into the worm's mouth and triggers the bomb pack, killing the worm and himself, leaving Helene and the sole survivor of all the soldiers. And that's pretty much how the movie really ends. I personally do have to say that the concept of this is actually pretty good, and it's a really awesome movie. I personally thought this movie was really neat and well done. I mean, it's got a really good concept and stuff, which I personally thought this was a really well made, done film. I personally really say, the actors did a good job and stuff like that. So, with that being said and that being the case, I personally really enjoy this film. Now, I know not everybody may like this movie, but I personally really thought this movie was pretty good for my liking. I personally really have to say this film is definitely one of the good ones. I personally really do enjoy this, and thought it was, a really great film. So, with that being said, and with that being the case, like I'm always going to say, and like I always continue to say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. In my opinion, this is a really great film. I mean, I personally really enjoy this. I thought, the concept of it and the plot of it was really good. It's a really well made film, and I personally really enjoyed this a lot. I thought, you know, I mean, the gore was pretty good, and the CGI animation for the sand serpents were really amazing. So I definitely do have to say, it's definitely one of those movies that are actually pretty good, and it is a really good film. I personally really enjoyed this. I thought it was really neat. I mean, I may not be a fan of, giant worm movies, which I think giant worm movies are overrated, but this film was actually half decent. It wasn't that bad. I personally really thought it was enjoyable and really well done. So, I guess with that being said, and with that being the case, like I'm always going to say, this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these movies. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. If you're in the Maneater series, then you definitely will like this film. If you're in the horror movies, you definitely would really like this film. If you really like giant worm movies, you probably would really like this film. So, as always, like I'm always gonna say, and like I always continue to say, um, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. What did you think of this movie? So, anyways, I'm Shadow the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you're new to this channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. As always, if you guys want to go follow me on Blue Sky, follow me on Twitter, follow me on DeviantArt, and follow me on my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo, as links to those will be in the About page section, so you guys won't miss an upload. So I guess with that being said, I'll be seeing you guys on the next video. Peace out, and like always, I'll see you all next time.